Okay, guys, welcome to today's podcast episode with a Dream, and this is somebody who I met through the Gamerpreneur. If you guys are aware of him, he's on Facebook and he's blowing up surprisingly fast. So kudos to him, but shout out to a Dream also, who I ran into, and we were sharing conversation about authenticity and how I like to develop my brand and my ideas. But I reached out to her, and she's actually a gamer who has introduced me to a whole new like landscape of basically people who I can just talk to, which is my passion as always. But so, anyways, without further ado, welcome to a Dream. Can you give us a little bit of more of a background on yourself and as far as what sort of projects you're working on currently?
Sure. So I'm Ale Dream. My real name is Andrea. I'm from New York City and I play a variety of games. My motto is I play anything, not everything. I've been playing a lot of Okami. Hopefully, I'm trying to finish it either by tonight or tomorrow. And then since December 21st is Batman Day, I want to start right after Okami straight to Batman Arkham Knight. So I'm very excited about that before I start going into my monthly themes because I want to try something new by making each month a theme of a genre. So October will be horror games, November Switch games, and December retro games.
Oh wow. I had no clue that September 21st is Batman Day.
Yeah.
But like, hold on. I don't know if you can see it in the background. I got to
I got a Batman thing there. It's so cool. Oh.
Yeah, I've always thought it was funny. I don't know. It was an interesting background that I've had, but I went with this green screen. I don't know why. I thought it was cool to make things a little bit easier for like editing backgrounds. But I'm definitely
Yeah,
a fan of
it's definitely, yeah.
but for sure. I wasn't aware it was the 21st. Another thing that like I found out as well this month was that International Podcast Day, I guess, is a day as well, and that it falls exactly on my birthday.
That's so cool. So you
Yeah.
have to do a podcast on your birthday.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I had to go tell my work that it's my religion and that I have to practice it. So
So, well, last week Saturday was National Video Game Day. If you didn't
oh
know
man.
that,
Yeah, for sure.
there's a
So
lot of national days that we've never heard of, and they have a really good meaning to what it is. So, yeah.
distinct enough for Google to know about it, I guess. Right? So it's
Hmm.
like punching in those days and it'll say like, yeah, for sure these are the exact days. So as far as video gaming, like when did you first start playing your like video games? When what games were you first starting with and whatnot?
I started video games at a young age, probably about 6, 7 years old, and the first video game system I played was the Sega Genesis. But the first video game system that my family bought for myself to own was a Nintendo 64. And I was introduced to Zelda Ocarina of Time, and I love Zelda Ocarina of Time. It's my all-time favorite video game in the world.
For sure. Um, yeah, I was part of the PlayStation crowd, but my brother owned a N64, but they were both fairly addicting. Like I could definitely say that Nintendo 64 had quite a few good titles. I still remember like to this day Mario 64. I'm sure a lot of people can have some strong nostalgia back to that game. But anyways, so like anybody who starts following you, and I'll leave all of your information in the description as far as like getting into streaming and whatnot. How did you get into that field, and how did that all just come about, I guess?
So I first started on a third-party app known as LiveMe. I did IRL streaming, which is like basically just chatting streams. But in certain circumstances, I didn't feel comfortable doing IRL streams anymore. So I've been observing other streamers on that app who was doing this green screen game streaming. But when I first started game streaming, I actually started game streaming with no camera whatsoever. and I just played retro games, and I blew up pretty quickly on the third party app. As soon as that finished, Facebook Gaming came about, and I started on Facebook Gaming, and then I grew a community there, and certain circumstances. Once again, this year, 2020, I am slowly trying to leave Facebook Gaming to go to Twitch and put my main focus on Twitch. And the reason why is that is because certain times you either feel comfortable or you want to take risk or you want to try something new. And I had my Twitch account for a while because I did try Twitch a while back, but now I notice that Twitch is less toxic than it used to be. Of course, it has, nothing's perfect. They have their flaws. I've noticed Twitch has been a way smoother transition for me, and I'm enjoying it 100 times more than I have ever imagined.
Right. Yeah, I've definitely looked into like Facebook gaming and how to get it started. Like I'm normally like on the PlayStation, so like I was trying to figure out I'm all about trying to figure out little things. Like if you saw my podcast setup, it's pretty crazy. Like I got like a machine for this, like a machine for video, so I could like swap in between things. But I was trying to go about trying to figure out how to actually set up with Facebook gaming. Like
so with Facebook gaming, it's a little complicated.
Yeah.
You do need an Elgato capture card. You do need a stable internet connection. And you definitely need a computer. Right. It's not like with Twitch, you go on the app and then you could just plug in your PS4 camera or whatever, and boom, there you go. I use Xbox. I could directly stream from my Xbox. I have the whole setup, so why would I do that?
For sure, yeah. Yeah, I've had both systems, but I think for myself, I usually have ventured off into, I don't know, it depends on what game it is. Like, I was all about Halo for definitely a long...
Halo! I'm so excited for Halo 6. I'm just so mad it's delayed, but it's better than nothing.
Right, yeah. I have like these crazy flashbacks to like Halo 2 where I'd just be up, like, it just took over basically, I wouldn't even say my time during the summer, but like, the existence of my 7th grade life, basically just hooked on it, talking trash with other people, obviously. So how far back into Halo were you going?
Let me see. Since the first Halo for the
sure.
OG Xbox,
the combat pistol.
But my ultimate favorite one is Halo 2. Which I'm happy in the Xbox, they have the Master Chief Collection and everything's remastered, and really, they did a really fabulous job with the cutscenes. The graphics and the texture of the characters look immaculate.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, even like the graphics back then, like, and I'm almost sure, like, even if you pulled up Halo 2 now, how like the graphics still hold up pretty well. So... Speaking of which, well, I don't have it over there, but I actually have a Master Chief. I went out and acquired a Master Chief suit because I always thought it was funny to just have it on hand. So I'm actually currently in the Navy. So in our ranks, like one of the top ranks that you can make enlisted is called Master Chief. And one of my life goals that I always thought would be funny would be to buy an actual warthog and just drive it in, pull it into work.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Have you seen any of those videos on it? On like the real life warthogs people have created?
No, I have not.
Yeah, they're pretty legit. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm getting wound up in Halo.
Okay.
So also I was pretty in depth with like World of Warcraft also for quite a bit of time, but I got like quite a bit of like real life like applicable skills built up from that, like more than I think people would realize, like how helpful it can be to you in real life, like as far as sociability, understanding economies and all of that. Like is there any games like that as far as like things that like games that have kind of opened up your perception into the real world and giving you better like abilities, I guess, just in general terms?
I could say Life is Strange. Life is Strange is actually one of my favorite episodical games that has ever came about in my life. I do not relate to the characters whatsoever, but the story of what happens, without spoiling anything for anyone who never played Life is Strange, which you should, between Max and Chloe, I definitely compare myself to Max, being like into photography, an introvert, and I kind of like put myself in her shoes. But with the situations that does go on in the game, like, you know, global warming and cases of obsession and drugs and stuff, could relate to real life, and you could use that for educational purposes and to teach people like to learn from right and wrong. And it's a great game with awesome story. Of course, there's supernatural stuff going on as well, and that's why it's Life is Strange. But it was a well made game, and I could totally relate to it in the characters' perspective, not in the story perspective.
Sure, for sure. So what are some like top I'll give you top 5 games that you would recommend to say.
Top 5 games?
Yeah, your personal top 5 that you would recommend.
Zelda Ocarina of Time. One of my favorite action adventure games. Is not RPG, it's action adventure. Second is Doki Doki Literature Club. I love virtual novels. It's one of the first virtual novels I've ever streamed. And if you're faint of heart, don't play it. But it's a very shocking experience. Third game is Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 2, by far the best Kingdom Hearts game ever made. I'm excited about the new rhythm game, but I don't think nothing can top Kingdom Hearts 2 based on the story and the momentum and movement and the just adrenaline when you just see your favorite Disney characters on screen. That's number 3, right? Number 4.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Crosscode. It's an indie game made by developers in Germany, and it is a phenomenal, well-made game that is retro. It takes 80 hours. Just warning you, 80 hours. It took me about 83 hours, but I know people that took 1,000 hours to complete the game and be a complete completionist. Complete the game, being a completionist, yeah. But getting all the achievements and everything, and as well. I enjoy it myself, especially the story. I definitely know the developers took a lot of time making this game, and they put a lot of heart and love into it. And then number 5 is Life is Strange, the first one with Max and Chloe. And I explained before, but just to tell you, it's an episodical game. It's based on the choices, and the choices you make affects the end of the game, or whatever you choose affects the situation that is manipulated in the game. And it's one of those games that will definitely stay in your head and heart, especially with certain scary moments and realistic moments.
For sure, for sure. So another question, this is kind of coming out from outside, but like as far as like this whole quarantine deal goes, like how has that affected your like community as far as like growing it, like developing it? Has it increased because of it, or have you noticed any like negative effects as far as like trying to grow it? Or
so since now everyone's going back to school, I've noticed a little decrease in my viewership and in community. However, during quarantine, I think that was like the best time to grow. The only challenge was everyone was jumping on the stream game because they see an open opportunity that they'd be able to do something from home, have fun, and able to make an income. And that's what everyone was doing. They were grasping that opportunity. I've been doing this for a while, so I actually got, you know, the leeway of getting certain things out there. Like it was easier to promote. It was easier to post due to the fact that I'm home and I'm not going anywhere. And a lot of people were stuck home, like worldwide. So it was definitely had its pros and cons.
For sure. So have you developed any like actual income streams? I'm sure at some point with like either Twitch or your following, like through either like advertisement or swag development, or I guess even Patreon?
I never use Patreon, but I do use Stream Elements. I actually opened my first merch store, and I'm very proud of it. But before I've done streaming, I made 4 singles. I have 4 songs on like iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal Music, and they make so much income from that. But that music does help with the promotion as well. Yes, I there is how can I say this without like yeah, there's a way to make income on Facebook gaming and Twitch gaming. It's just you have to expect the unexpected, and you never know how much you're gonna make. You just gotta continue to be consistent and be, well aware of the time zones, because you have different people from different places who are viewing your content.
For sure. So, what are ways that, like, I guess the income stream for like Facebook Live would be developed, and then same with Twitch, for anyone who I guess is, like I said, interested in learning about like jumping in on this as well.
So to gain monetization on Facebook gaming, to first start off, you have to be in the Level Up program. To be accepted on the Level Up program, you must have a page that is a gaming video creator page for at least 60 days. You must have 100 followers. You must be able to have streamed for 4 hours in 8 days, I think it is. And then for Twitch, it's different. Twitch is actually a little more complicated. For Twitch, you to be affiliates, that's what it's called, you have to stream at least 12 days. You must have at least to do 12 days or 12 hours. You have to do one of those. No, 10 days and 12 hours. You must have 50 followers, and you also must have receive 3 concurrent viewers, which means an average of 3 to 5 viewers in every stream watching your stream.
Wow.
In like a minute or more. So
Wow.
It's harder to get Twitch affiliate than the Facebook, that's for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like
but it's doable.
Yeah.
I got both, so
True.
if I could do it, anyone could do it. You have to put your mind to it, be consistent, and stay away from oversaturated games.
For sure. Huh. That's interesting. So, like, as far as actually like gaining the viewership that you've gained, like, have you leveraged, say, like Facebook into like Twitch, or like vice versa, or going into Instagram and saying like, hey, like pulling people from there and I guess pulling them onto that platform? Because I guess it seems like you've had some pretty good success with it, but as far as like moving people from platform to platform, for me it seems like one of the biggest challenges. So
it's still a challenge till this day. I chose to do Facebook at least 4 times a month to be able to contain that momentum, especially the fact that I have a greater amount of followers on my Facebook page compared to my Twitch page. Facebook had 10,000 followers, and on Twitch, I literally started from the bottom, and I'm now to 2,000 followers on Twitch. So there's a big number gap there. And when it comes to try to not persuade, but try to like tell my followers, like, hey, I'm in Twitch, check it out. There's times I didn't know you moved to Twitch, or I get wait, I don't see you on Facebook anymore. And I'm like, because I'm on Twitch. So it shows that people do not like to read. So
yeah,
I
sure.
literally I've tried to make video announcements, or I post a picture with some description, or I put it on the picture itself that I moved over to Twitch, so check me out on Twitch. Or I'm streaming here way less than usual. But what helped a lot with moving people, well, like not to announce where I am at now, I've been using Twitter. Twitter has been super helpful. And Instagram stories helps tremendously. The fact that you post an Instagram story on Instagram and it goes straight to your Facebook story. And people do actually check those stories.
Yeah.
Another way that will help too is using Snapchat, Pinterest, and all the different social media platforms you can use.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay. So like, as far as, okay, first question is, like what's the income difference between Twitch and Facebook overall that you notice?
There's no income difference. The only thing that it's different is that on Facebook you receive stars, and that is the way that's compared to bits on Twitch. But on Facebook it starts from 10 stars and up. On Twitch you could start from 1 bit to as many bits you want to send. And then on Twitch as an affiliate, you'd be able to get subscribers, and you also could get payment from ads if you put the ads yourself, or you allow the new rollout that Twitch is testing out, that they'll put ads in the middle of your stream and mute your stream for people that are not sub to your channel. And on Facebook, to be sub, you have to be selected.
Interesting. So it sounds like also like you've got a pretty good stretch over like the different social media platforms between Facebook, Twitch, Snapchat, and all of that. So how would you normally structure, say, like in a day where you're going over, say, all of the different platforms? Like how would you structure as far as like making sure you get content onto Instagram, onto Facebook, onto Twitter? Like, are you doing it like, are you scheduling it out to when you're actually doing it, or are you like winging it? That's kind of what I've been doing personally to some extent. So
winging it is actually not good at all. You want to be consistent of when you post and how you post, especially the fact of when is the best time when everyone's on their phone checking the social media platform. I definitely go by numbers, and I also check on my analytics as much as I can, especially with how many tweets are being retweeted at this time, how many tweets are being liked at this time, which pictures gaining the most traffic on Instagram and stuff like that. It's very important to check the analytics and the graphs and the numbers, and the time as well. The best time usually to post is when someone wakes up, or when someone is after eating dinner, which is like prime time, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my time. And of course, there'll be different times, like right. Mountain Standard Time, Central Time, Pacific Time, and so on forth. And then besides having able to like post stuff, I use TweetDeck, and I use this third-party app, which allows everything that's posted and synchronize it and post it at the same time. So if I post something on Instagram, it will instantly go to my Facebook page and Twitter. If I post something on Twitter, it will instantly go to my Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram, and so on forth. So I make sure everything is relevant to what I'm talking about and what I'm trying to promote into the social media, as well as the timing and how it's being posted.
For sure. So with TweetDeck, is it like are you going off a subscription base, or is it like a one-time purchase?
Oh, it's free.
Oh, it is?
And TweetDeck is mostly focused on Twitter.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
So that's how I check like analytics and stuff.
For sure.
I learned it from college.
Yeah, for sure. I love learning about analytics, to be honest with you, but it's definitely like that in itself can become a full-time job, as with most other things, for sure.
That is absolutely accurate. It's so accurate.
Yeah. So like how we were going over before we started, as far as like scheduling and whatnot, and how you can just kind of in a way become overwhelmed by it, to where it just becomes instantly its own full-time job of just doing this.
Well, being a streamer is a job. People don't understand that being a streamer is a job. Yes, it could start as a hobby, but it could become a job, because streaming is super draining. You could lose a lot of energy for streaming, because as a streamer, you have to think of what kind of content I want to bring out to my audience. What am I going to do today? Do I really want to hit the live button, or is anyone going to like me? Am I going to be bullied? You got to think outside the box. You have to think either of the positive and the negatives, and then combine them. So when it comes to the streaming itself, it could be really, really overwhelming. There's times that I need to take a day off and be like, listen, I know I said I was going to stream, but I can't do it. I'm totally drained.
It's crazy. So like, as far as like like the amount of time you spend actually like prepping for the live all the way up to when it's finally posted and whatnot? How long of a time frame is that normally?
My streams can run from usually my streams run from 3 to 8 hours, but now since I'm back in school, my streams are running only 3 to 5 hours. And the just cutting the time actually hurts me due to the fact that I am full of adrenaline when it usually is later at the time. But it's like I said, you have to have time management and you need to like pace yourself and know what is best of what's the best time to stream and who's going to be there. And in addition, also for your well-being, because your health is way more important than a certain amount of viewers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, like so yesterday I posted up that little like to-do list that I follow. And like literally the first thing that I take care of is health, like getting outside and going for a run cuz I'm like I need this energy for the rest of the day, and it's like crazy how like trying to get into this realm can literally take over your whole life. But it seems like you've had quite a bit of success with it for sure. But you said you were going to college right now. What are you looking to what are you looking into as far as your education goes?
I'm a communication media major, and at the moment, for like work, I'm a freelancer, and I work with many developers in beta testing. So I beta test games in a non-closure agreement, meaning like
You
I
can't
can't
talk
talk about the game or anything. But I could say that I do beta test games and I help developers with the bugs reporting and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. That sounds intense. I've heard
It's
stories.
very intense.
Yeah.
It's very intense, and especially if you slip up and you talk about the game, it hurts badly, especially with the legal terms. And it's very competitive because it's first come first serve. If someone contacts you and you don't get your report in right away, and the person gets it, you lose that chance of gaining money.
Right. Yeah.
Income. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I've read stories about like game testing. I've heard it's like it's not quite the dream that some people might imagine it to be.
It's not a dream job. It's actually very tedious and very repetitive. Especially I could say this since the game's already out for Fall Guys. I had a beta test that game before it came out, and now that I see it everywhere, I just want to vomit. I'm like, oh. And I'm still terrible at the game, but the beta test was just a nightmare. That's all I could say. It was just a nightmare.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard stories of like people who are testing these games where they have to go through certain environments in the game and like find the glitches and then just like keep doing it over and over and
over and over again until the glitch appears, or if the glitch doesn't appear, you have to report it. Yep, that's exactly how it works.
Yeah,
there's way more in depth in that context, but it's more of like how can I say definitely way complicated than people think. It's not a dream job.
I mean, it all depends, I guess. Have you ever like considered like software developing for video games?
Absolutely not. No.
Why not?
I'm bad at math, number one, and that requires lots of math and lots of focusing on numbers and everything. Like I've learned how to code, and I still am terrible at JavaScript with the HTML coding and all that. But the thing I want to learn more is like doing what you're kind of doing, but like with like esports or journalism, or basically be a streamer to like to the masses, like you stream to the masses and you're actually educating them about the psychological ways of how games help you, things like that. Or another thing, yeah, or maybe be a full-time streamer, because there's a lot of people that are full-time streamers and they're super successful.
Yeah, for sure. I think so here's an interesting thing. Like I was actually taking a college radio class for some time, and
okay,
it was pretty interesting. Like this is kind of how I got comfortable just like talking on microphones and not being afraid to be live, because like when you're on live radio and after you mess something up on there, you're like, all right, well, everybody was listening or somebody was listening. And you kind of get over fear pretty quickly once you just like stop caring about it in a way. But like you were bringing up freelancing and the idea of that. And as far as like for myself, like I've learned that like freelancing has so much value. Like it's crazy how much more value you can have, just not even just from like it's your passion project, but just for the fact that like you basically can create your own ceiling of wherever it is that you want to go. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't like to down talk people, but like I've noticed like numbers where like people are contracted with certain companies or whatever, and they're, you know, doing deals and all this other stuff, versus like having your own freedom and not having sold it yet allows you to just go and do way more, for sure. But you were
There's a study about like freelance graphic designers and photographers would make more money than corporate people that are in contract or partnered with certain companies and stuff. So because you're your own boss and you plan your own hours, and whenever you plan your own hours and your time and you pace yourself, you'll bring in more energy to what you want to accomplish.
for sure. So as far as like you brought up your singing career, as far as getting that onto Inc or onto Spotify and whatnot, was that done with like a record label at all, or was it just like you freelancing it and launching it?
My first single was a freelance project, and then the second one was actually I signed with the indie deal. Um, but I still have all the rights to everything as well. So um, it's completely opposite from like doing mainstream or working with like a major deal. I didn't release many songs, so that's why I don't see much coming from the songs as much. But if in the future, if I'm able to make more music, because making music, I always say this to everyone, like, why did you quit music? And I'm like, no, I didn't quit music. Music is way more expensive than gaming, that's
Yeah, for
for sure.
sure. Just like instruments alone and the time that
Instruments, paying the producer, time, studio time. See, with gaming, you could basically play a game on the internet and then stream that, or buy a game, and the game will go on for about 1 or 2 months. See, with studio time, it's you're in a time span and you're racing against time. Like sometimes you want to do something in 2 days, 3 days, maybe a week, but yeah, you're paying basically paying for every single second for doing that. So
yeah, for sure. So you were talking about like the positive effects of gaming. I myself,
yeah.
I've done a little bit of research on it, but like as far as like psychological like effects that you've found, what are some things that like you could point out to anybody listening to it?
I suffer from social anxiety, so being a gamer keeps me calm. And especially like there's certain games, of course, they make you rage and stuff. But what I mean by being calm is that there's not that many people around you or bothering you. That's why I stay away from multiplayer games, because having so many voices in my voice chat, it does trigger me, and it could be very very overwhelming. As well, for it being positive, it also could help with focus. There's certain games that have like memory and elements, or learning elements, because there's certain dialogue in the game that they have different words that you never heard of, and there could be a glossary that explains the word. And besides that, the focus and that, and there's also, there's many different type of genres of games. There's educational games, there's puzzle games. It helps the mind. So yeah, that's definitely the positive side of games I see.
Yeah, for sure. I was pretty deep down in the rabbit hole of playing Madden Mobile, and like I spent quite a bit of money on it, like I've mentioned before. But some of the
Okay.
positive effects that I've noticed from it were just like management techniques that I'd get from it, like as far as like managing a bunch of different variables, basically. So I was like, man, if only I could take my head from this and apply it outside, I could see some maybe see some difference for myself. So I've had to take a break, but I've seen that the PS5 is on its way out, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I heard it's already sold out, the pre-orders.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if I'm gonna hop on that train right away. I think I might wait, as we've seen with previous consoles where they're quite buggy, for sure.
Mhm.
But anyways, yeah, so as far as like freelancing and all that, I was kind of all over the place trying to gain
Oh,
some
fine.
direction. But yeah, for sure with freelancing I definitely recommend it, like if you have the means to manage it, and like how you were saying, like working in a corporate capacity can certainly limit you as far as like your creativity goes, because you're kind of stuck into that one realm. Um, as far as so you said, so what is like your normal job like outside of streaming?
I work from home. So like I said, I do the freelance is my job and
Yeah,
being the
yeah,
beta tester, as well as I work with an independent company who helps streamers to be successful, which is NERKCO.
right,
And we're starting a new program, which will be announced soon, like a boot camp. There's a one-time fee that you have to pay, and I'll be making videos and teaching potential streamers how to hit affiliate, what to do, what not to do on stream, and learn about terms of services and this kind of things you could learn on YouTube. But if you actually visually see someone teaching you and you're listening to someone who has a success and is just like you, I think will be more efficient and helpful to those instead of watching someone with over 1 million followers who actually does not read the chat,
yeah,
because interaction is important. So that's the that's the deal right there.
for sure, certainly. So here's a funny story as far as like what you were just mentioning with like people who have 1 million followers and whatnot. I ran into
Okay.
I'm pretty upset with myself because I've been taking like these courses on happiness and how to deal with how to like be more intrinsically happy and whatnot. But
Okay.
I fell into an Instagram trap where I saw this course that was being sold, and since I own myself, I guess, but there's this course. It was called like Influency, and I dropped like $40 on it because I was like, oh, this could be cool. Maybe they'll give me some good information. And then I just got I got slammed with upsells, and I was fairly upset with it. I don't know if I'm gonna mention it or not, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you don't have to mention it.
No,
Just you learn from your mistakes, trial and error. So that's
yeah,
absolutely
for
fine.
sure. As far as like other courses that you've taken personally to like help you with your success in gaming,
Uh huh.
what courses have you personally taken that I guess have helped with like getting you to where you're at now?
No courses whatsoever. I watch a lot of YouTube videos and I observe many streamers. I don't observe like what they do and stuff, but I observe like their like overlays. I observe their content. I observe their mannerisms and stuff like that. And yeah, that's what I do.
For sure. What influencers or streamers in particular have influenced you or that you follow?
Um, Sushi Dragon is one of my favorites. He does just chatting streams. Granny is really cool. And besides Granny, oh my goodness gracious, I'm trying to remember. There's one person as well who is an excellent streamer, Harris Heller. He's the one that does this. He's the one that taught about the DMCA's, and he makes music for free for streamers, which is such a nice thing. And he doesn't have to do that, and he's helping streamers to keep their content relevant using the music he made for free for us. So yeah, so Harris Heller, Granny, and I mentioned a third one? What was the third one? It was Granny, Travis Heller, and Sushi Dragon. There you go.
For sure. Yeah, so um as far as like also I was pulling them in, and I'll leave some all this information also in the description. But
No problem.
as far as like also growing your own following, with like building your audience, have you invested much as far as like in promotional ads, like boosting through Instagram, boosting through Facebook?
When I did Facebook gaming, my mom helped me boost my page. Um, but mostly the way I've been investing is my time, especially working on like edits and stuff. I'm actually been editing videos to be uploaded on my YouTube in the future. I want it to be perfect, so it's gonna take a lot of time for me to edit because I've streamed several videos and I stream a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely editing is like the bane of my existence for sure. So it's kind of like part of the reason why I've dropped some expensive money. Like I went out and I purchased this thing. It's called the A10 Mini Pro, to where like it's basically a video switcher to where you can like go in from like camera onto like video or whatever, just so that in the future I won't have to go back over it and edit out everything or do whatever it is to make it look professional. But so yeah, there's yeah, just to improve, I guess, the whole look of it. And then the other thing I went into was the whole Rodecaster Pro, and that was definitely a great investment for myself as well. So
And editing, when you edit a video, a 5 minute video could take at least 2 to 3 hours and maybe more. So yeah,
yeah, for
editing's
sure.
not easy.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with like that's like the whole purpose of green screens as well for myself. Like obviously, like for anyone who's gonna watch this video, our background is going to be actually black, but normally,
Okay.
yeah, no, so
And you can edit my background,
yeah,
so that's
right,
fine.
yeah, so um, definitely, definitely, there's definitely a lot of work that goes into editing. As
Yep.
far as going over your whole artwork, I've noticed that your artwork is pretty professional looking. Can you, as far as the photo you posted that I have that I'll have featured on the thumbnail for YouTube and whatnot?
Oh, my logo.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
have an amazing graphic designer. He made my logo. He made my emotes. He made my subscriber badges. He did everything. So I can't take any credit for what he has done. He's known as Cervantes de Leon. Ow. Break my leg. But yeah, he's Cervantes de Leon, and he is a phenomenal graphic artist from California, and I'm so grateful for him. He made my merch store come alive, and he helped a lot when I reached affiliate. He helped a lot during Facebook as well, but definitely Twitch, he got to show off his artwork. So I really appreciate him for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely something I've been looking at into currently, just because of like how much work is involved. And like I know graphic arts, again, it's it's obviously can be its own job as far as like
Yep.
the workload itself. But I definitely believe in trying to outsource as many tasks as possible to make the process easier. For sure. Um. Anyways, yeah. So this has been pretty good. Just trying to get
Yay!
just picking trying to pick your brain and get things out to people who are listening, who are kind of in that range of like how to grow and get to perhaps where you're at some point.
Just be yourself. Be yourself. Don't ever compare yourself to others, and make sure to turn off the viewer count so you don't overwhelm yourself and start overthinking. Like, I only have one viewer, because if you have one viewer watching you the entire time, you are successful. That's what I always say.
Yeah, that is definitely true. I think that is definitely something that can be taken as value for sure. Because you can look at it and just be like, oh, well, there's only one person. Bye. I'm not even going to say bye and roll off. versus sticking around to have that conversation, which can definitely have a lot of long-term value. So
Yeah.
something also that I've definitely like picked up value from starting a podcast is like friendship, like actual relationships, which are like pretty awesome. As far as for yourself, like, can you dive into any like relationships that actually developed through streaming that have turned into like friendships that have, had great value to your success or whatnot?
I'd say yeah, not to get into detail. Definitely a lot of friendships and stuff. So thanks to streaming, I got to meet amazing people. So yeah, sure.
For sure. Have, have you attended any like networking events for streaming?
Yes, I attended VidCon last year, which is taking place in Anaheim, California, and I participate in a lot of indie game developers conventions in the city where I live at, which basically I get to beta test the game and give them a little feedback and stuff like that. And that's usually at like the Microsoft store. So yeah, I guess I felt my and then the last one I went to was PAX East, which was in Massachusetts. Um, but my goal now is to be able to go to E3 in the future and TwitchCon. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Have you uh so I myself have not yet been to any of these networking events, but I've always saw them as pretty like good opportunities just as far as like networking. Like
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So how have you been able to find success as far as like networking at these events? Like are you guys like passing out like business cards or just like how you're approaching different people or like how do you gain some I guess growth or following from there?
I made business cards and I gave them the business cards. The business cards definitely helps as well. If they need a photographer for a moment, I take a picture for them, and then I post it on my Instagram, and that's like instant access to my other socials since my links are there. So yeah, the word of mouth and business cards definitely help when it comes to conventions for promoting yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Is there any other any other comments or anything else you would like to share for this episode or
Nope, I just say just be yourself, keep going what you want to aim for, and work hard at your dreams. They will come true.
yeah, for sure. And then you can follow Alay Dream on Instagram. She's on
Twitter,
Twitter.
Facebook, Twitch, um, Pinterest. And you also could Google LA Dream and check out my music and check out what other social platforms I'll be on.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and I'll make sure all those links are in all the descriptions. So wherever you guys are following this, you guys can totally follow it from there. And then also,
Fantastic.
and then also you guys can follow me obviously wherever either on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all podcast platforms. So, anyways, hope you guys are doing well today. Hope you guys are staying up, staying motivated, staying staying on the a good path, and I will see you guys all soon.
Bye, everyone.